welcome back to another episode of War in Cali. In this episode, I'm going to talk about Inglewood. Now, Inglewood has been known for gang activity since the 70s and has been known to be a blood and Piru city, with a few exceptions for a few Crip gangs. Many of the gangs in Inglewood started in the 70s and some in the early 80s. They include gangs like the Inglewood Family Bloods, the Avenue Pirus, the Neighborhood Pirus, Centinela Park Family Bloods, the Queen Street Bloods, and the Crenshaw Mafia Bloods, among many. All these gangs have a long history and have been at war with rival gangs for years, like several Crip gangs in Inglewood, being some gangs like the Legend Crips, the Raymonds, and the Tongue and Crip gang. A lot of the Inglewood blood gangs also have beef with many gangs tied to the neighborhood Crip car, like the 100s, the 90s, and the 60s, among several more. Now, the neighborhood Crip car formation comes from many different Crip gangs being started in the 70s and the 80s, and coming together to start a powerful alliance against many rivals, being other hoods like the Hoovers, many blood sets like the Brims, BPS, and many of the Inglewood sets, and also the Gangster Crip car. The neighborhood Crips consist of numerous different sets from east and the west side of South Central, and many other cities as well. Some of the most known neighborhood Crip gangs would be the East Coast Crips, the 40s, the 60s, the 90s, and the 100s, among many others. But in this episode, I'm going to detail some of the Pirus and Bloods in Inglewood and some things that happened with them and the neighborhood Crips. But with that being said, let's get into some cases. On January 17th, 2002, a Queen Street Blood named Colbert was shot and killed on Inglewood Avenue and Queen Street. All of his homies gathered on the street angry about him losing his life. About an hour later, a woman named Jacqueline was walking in Legend Crips turf. She seen three men standing at the corner of the street. Then she seen a man named Shauna, his girlfriend, walking in the direction of the three men, who grouped with exchanged words, and the three men started shooting at Sean, taking his life. They then ran to a car and drove away. Sean's girlfriend would identify the shooter as Earl from Queen Street. The group of three fired at Sean 15 times, so all lead to Earl receiving 75 years to life for the shooting. July 25th, 2005, Carolyn was living in Inglewood family's turf with her son Dante. Dante went out to take the trash out. Next thing you know, Carolyn would hear multiple shots. Dante was from neighborhood Piru and was shot multiple times, losing his life. The shooters wouldn't be known for several months until one of the shooter's girlfriend came forth. He would tell the police it was her boyfriend Derek and his homie Josh. Both men were from the Rolling 60 Crips. Derek's girlfriend would tell the police everything from how many times they shot to them even driving back to the scene to make sure that Dante was dead. Many residents on that block would even identify Derek and Josh as the shooters. Both men received 50 years to life for the shooting. January 11, 2006, Byron, who lived on 67th Street in Rolling 60's turf and was affiliated with that gang, was shot multiple times by a passing car. A woman named Shauna would be driving behind the car and followed the car for miles. She called the police and gave a description of the shooter and also the car. Even told the police where the shooter's car stopped at. The car stopped at the Inglewood Cemetery at a large gathering. Police arrived at the cemetery and spotted the shooter. He was at a funeral. He was later arrested, and he was from Centinela Park family. Shooter's name was Little CK, and his alibi was that he was at the funeral of his fellow homie who just died. Little CK was arrested just 2 hours after the shooting he committed. Little CK received life for his shooting. On October 18th, 2006, Norman was standing in front of his grandma's house in a Rolling 60s turf when a black car drove up and said, "What's up, blood?" and 6 shots followed, leaving Norman shot multiple times, but he survived. The car then drove away. The black car was driving and hit another car, and the two men jumped out and left the car they was in. A man named Charlie, who was in the other car that they hit, called the police. The police identified the shooter as Infant Nut from Centinela Park family. The car was registered to him, and Charlie even picked him out of a lineup, which led back to the shooting of Norman. Infant Nut received 17 years, and the second man was never charged. On July 17th, 2009, Stinson, Kevin, Jordan, and several other friends went to a party in Baldwin Hills. They ain't seen many bloods in the party, but it wasn't any issues. Around 10:30, Stinson and his group decided to leave and went to their car. The blood members would leave too, and be walking by Stinson's car. Pierre from neighborhood Piru yelled out a diss to neighborhood Crips and started shooting at Stinson and his crowd. Stinson was shot multiple times. Pierre and his crew would run, but was caught shortly after. Pierre was positive for gun residue. Pierre told the police he shot Stinson because he was scared the neighborhood Crips were going to do something to him, so he responded in that way. Pierre received 40 years to life. On August 21st, 2009, Otis from Avenue Piru was killed. It was said to be done by the 111 neighborhood Crips. On August 22nd, Leonard and his girlfriend drove to a store on West Century Boulevard. Leonard was wearing a Yankees hat, known to be worn by the neighborhood Crips. Leonard would go inside the store, and after a few minutes he would come out. This led to him being shot outside the store, and he lost his life. The store had 5 cameras and caught the whole thing. Police easily found the shooter, and his name was Joe. He was from Avenue Piru. Police would observe Joe for weeks, getting all the evidence that they needed, like cell phone records and things to pin him to the gang, and also witnesses, and also the camera footage. With so much evidence against him, Joe received 25 years to life. Takeoff and Little Poncho were from Nutty Block Crip. They went to Crenshaw Mall all blued up, but neither had a strap, so you can say the whole day they was slipping. They went to Amber Motel to meet some females. Then 2 men pulled up and yelled out Centinela Park. Takeoff and Little Poncho were wearing Yankee gear, which is known to be worn by the Nutty Blocks, but also by the neighborhood Crips, what they were mistaken for. After an altercation between the 2 groups, shots would start flying. Little Poncho would lose his life. Cameras at the motel would capture everything, and the shooter was named Antoine. He would be charged with life for the shooting. Now the Inglewood Bloods and the Pirus have been at it for years with the neighborhood Crips, and their beats will be brought to social media. Now you see Nipsey way back in 2011 speaking on Munchie B, a known Inglewood family member who's reputable from that area. Nipsey put rumors out that something happened to Munchie B in jail that has never been confirmed to be true, but it's said that Nipsey hates steam from Munchie B, and several Bloods running through Nipsey's store, and even a rumor of slapping Nipsey's dad.
Before the marathon stores called Sloss and Tees, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? This was like 2010, right before I went to jail. It was 2010. You know, we was all hanging out. We was dating. We had did a video and shit, you know what I mean? So, like, me and my little homie got the bright idea, like, let's push up to Sloss and Tees, you know what I mean? We about like 30, 35 deep, a gang of cars. So, now if you know what it looked like, when we pulled up, you got Sloss and the Crenshaw, you know, the little plaza where Nipsey shop at. So you got people that's turning off Crenshaw on the Slossing. Got people coming up that alley, coming into the shop center. People coming up Slossing from the opposite direction of Crenshaw and pulling in the you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's people hanging out in front of that Master Burger, like 3 of them. They run for it. Like, I mean, it looked like the Feds about to raise something like out of the air. You know what I mean? Wow. Who they said it's supposed to be Nipsey dad, supposed to be was crouched down behind the register. I don't know if that was his dad, true or false, or it could have been a rumor, but then, you know what I mean, after that, that's where his dislike come from, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then he got the tweet, and they just took so-and-so amount of this vanilla, this petty. Really?
On the Inglewood side, especially the Inglewood families would take a big loss, losing Red Bull to the Stink Team and the neighborhood Crips. Kels, who's from the Rolling Hundreds, and AB, who's from the 40s, took his life in 2016.
Something happened in the parking lot, shots were fired, and the next thing that these 2 women told me that they knew was that someone who had been shot in the parking lot ran back into the party.
But around the same time, the Rolling 90 neighborhood Crips would lose a big name in Kid Cali, who was a rapper and businessman outside of being from 90s. He was shot and killed by an Inglewood family member.
Friends told her that Justin was involved in some sort of altercation during the party. Police say the gunman wounded 2 other men. Davila says Lachey got along with everybody, and she can't understand why anyone would shoot him.
Many of lesser-known deaths follow beyond the years of this beef. Nipsey Hussle died in 2020, but a few times his mural will be defaced, and one time it was done by the Inglewood families. In 2022, a local gangbanger named Indian Red Boy from Inglewood families would die. Indian Red Boy would go viral with him dying on Instagram Live, but I can't show it because it's too graphic.
Investigation underway right now in Hawthorne.
Let's go to Desmond Shaw in Sky 9 with the latest.
Jeff and Susie, we're off of Chandran Avenue in the city of Hawthorne, and you can see Hawthorne PD. They are wrapping up their investigation. They're still taking some photographs. We watched the coroner just wheel the body away. It is a male in his 20s that was shot and killed. Inside this car, there are a lot of bullet holes inside that windshield.
Many neighborhood Crips will make fun of him and the way he died. Rapper Draco the Ruler, who did a few years in jail, when he got out, he went on an anti-Inglewood rampage, and anybody associated with Inglewood, he would be trying to diss him. In 2021, Draco made a song called Ingleweird, dissing the whole city of Inglewood, but Draco will only last 1 more year before he died.
throughout the packed Live Nation-produced festival, with fans trying to get away any way they could. Members of the LA Fire Department treated the injured artist, but the wounds proved fatal. The concert was cut short just before Snoop Dogg was to take the stage.
On Inglewood side, they would take their chance to make fun of Draco since he died.
Homie, blood, y'all ain't even know blood. Ain't none of y'all slime for blood. If y'all don't slime for blood, don't post him, blood.
Smoking some Draco, smoking some Nipsey, smoking.
So off this, you'll see that this beef won't end. And this will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.